Yes. Okay. So good morning. My name is Meg Inglis, and I'm with the Native Landscape Certification Program. And Kimber Kaushik is our trainer for the bingo card generator. So we're both here. Welcome to the presentation. Now, let me just find it. I hadn't brought it up yet. Bad me. Here it is. I got on my email this morning and all my emails had disappeared. So that was a moment of panic for me. Like, oh my gosh, how did this happen? So we're hoping everything else goes well. You never know. Okay, slideshow. We're going to play it from the start. All righty. And Kimber, if you can watch the weight room, that would be greatly appreciated. Okay. So again, my name is Meg Inglis. I work for the Native Plant Society of Texas, and I help Native Plant Society of Texas chapters throughout the state put on a program called Native Landscape Certification Program. So I organize it. I set it up for them. I go to their first class and get them moving. So this is the Native Landscape Certification Program. Some of you may be familiar with it, others not. It's a series of day-long native plant landscaping classes hosted by NPSOT. Level 1 is the introduction, pretty much says why natives are so important. And level 2 is you actually get to do a design in that class. And level 3, we talk about installation and maintenance of native landscapes. And then level 4 is just now being completed and will be available in the fall. I'm not sure where. For those of you who are eagerly awaiting it, we're going to do a train the trainer in May and then figure out who's going to host it in the fall. And then we also have what's called a companion class. It's not part of the series, but it's the Native Landscapes for Birds. It's like this class that is is a companion to the NLCP. All of these classes have the same format. They have the topic, landscape design, for example, a PowerPoint on that. And then we also talk about 45 native plants that we would love for you to be using, and 5 that we would prefer you did not use. So that's for levels 1, 2, 3, and for the companion class, the birds class. So by the time you finish taking this class, you will have been introduced to many native plants. And what we wanted to do is to create Kimber came up with this idea and to create the plant ID bingo. And provide it at the Native Landscape Certification classes so that we can reinforce learning about the plants. A lot of students are nervous about the plants, trying to learn them and take the test at the end. You don't have to take a test when you take these classes, but many people do because they want to put it on their resume or on their business card. But our goal is to increase students' native plant ID skills, and we need your help in creating the game pieces, which are here. These are our outcomes that we hope to have for the classes. First of all, on the left, you'll see the bingo card.
You're not sharing. You're not sharing.
Oh, I'm not sharing at all.
Yeah. No,
wow,
this is the first time we really need to.
Okay. Yeah. Kimber, why didn't you tell me before you did?
Well, I thought you were just explaining. I know what everything.
All right.
They need to see the outcomes.
Yeah, hold on. Well, my goodness, nobody said anything, but I guess it's okay because you're right. Nobody needed to really see all that. Hold on. How embarrassing. All right, play from current slide. Now, can you see it? I hate being one of those people. So anyway, let's go back. So these are the classes, and then this is our goal. And then here are the outcomes. This is what we would like to create. Now you can see it, right? Here's the bingo card on the left. And this bingo card was created by Kimber for the level 1 Houston area NLCP class. And so this is the outcome. This is the bingo card that they use to play the game. And so we have to create, and eventually, as you know, when you play bingo, everybody's got their own card. And then somebody called the caller will call out a hint or, you know, a hint or a name or a description of the plant. And then as a player, you're supposed to be able to recognize what this plant is and mark it on your card. So on the right, you see the caller reference sheet, which is what the caller will be using in order to call the game. So, and then in the middle, we have the player cheat sheet, which is something that we want to create for the players and send to the players so that when they do play the game, they have something they can refer to while they're playing. All of this is to reinforce, you know, learning about the plant and learning about the plant characteristics. And we're going to go through all of these we're going to go through these outcomes with you and how they will be created in this presentation. With regard to the Texas Master Naturalists project logistics, our expectation is that you would work on your own schedule and on your own computer. It will take it'll take several hours to complete a bingo games. I'm guessing probably a day once you get the hang of it. That's what the feedback I get is. And we're thinking that in the end, I'd like to have, I have about 23 different classes that I can assign people to. And then not 30, but I counted them up after I wrote this. And then for each class, we need probably 30 to 50 cards to be made. And they have to be made in, created and made and copied as a PDF individually and stored somewhere. Our goal is to have the games available to NIPSOT by July 31st, because that's the beginning of our next season, the fall season. In order to do this, you're going to have the computer, access to the internet, access to use Zoom, an ability to use Zoom and Google Apps and PowerPoint. And we do provide the training. We can help you. We can help you through everything. We'll talk about the bingo generator today. And this is an old PowerPoint, so the dates about February is out of date, but just know that we're going to go over the basics today. We're going to be creating some short training videos. We'll divide the basics up into short training videos, which you will have access to on the NLCP YouTube if you choose to do something for us, if that's something that you want to do. What do you get out of this? Hopefully, you will learn more about the native plants and help educate the public about what, the crucial role that they play in our ecosystem. And it'll help you learn and develop your expertise on identification of native plants. Because when you go through this process, you have to take all that information and put it on the bingo generator. And so that reinforces your learning. And then the other thing too is once you've got this bingo generator, you can actually adapt it to other topics for your master naturalist. And I can easily see this would be a fun thing to do on birds and amphibians and reptiles and pollinators and all kinds of animals and that sort of thing. And also, we all need to keep our brains stimulated and learn new software. It's been a challenge doing everything on Google for me, but I'm learning it, and I'm glad I am. All right, so I'm going to stop that. And then the other thing I want to quickly show you, I still am sharing, right? So I want to show you something else real quickly, and that is what we will create for you. I guess I don't need this mail up here. Okay. So with Google Drive, what we're going to show, what we have here is So I'm on my Google Drive right now, and you can see over here on the left-hand side, it says My Drive. And then Kimber and I share files. So whenever she shares something with me, I go to this part, shared with me, and I'll see what she shared with me. And I'm sure most of you probably are familiar with all of this, but it's been a real, like I said, a learning experience for me. What we want to do to get you started is to provide you with your very own folder. And here is one of the folders, and I'll show you the contents. This is the Plant ID Bingo folder for BRN, which is Bernie Level 1, which I've assigned to somebody already. And in this folder, you will see another subfolder for your bingo cards to put your bingo cards in once you've created them. Another subfolder to put your cheat sheet in. It's just going to be one cheat sheet. So we just wanted to give you a place to store it. And then you will have a bingo card generator. And we're going to go through that right now. And then I will provide you a sort of a stripped down version of the NLCP power. Remember I said that in NLCP we go over 45 plants and 5 invasives. And so we have a PowerPoint that we use. And what I do is I give you, pretty much the bare bones PowerPoint, which you can copy photographs off of and put into the bingo card generator. And Kimber's going to go through that. She's going to go through the PowerPoint and show you how to create a photograph to put on the bingo card generator. Did I cover everything, Kimber? Kimber, is there anything else we need to cover here?
No, that's it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to go over this a little bit as well, because I'm going to take them through the process from start to finish.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to, I just want to say here, so I'm clicking on the bingo card generator. If you're familiar with Excel spreadsheet, the bingo card generator is on Google Sheets, and it's very much built like Excel spreadsheet. It's got the capability of creating a number of different sheets. And so here we're looking at the bingo ID card, and then Kimber's going to go over the actual generator. So you see on the bottom of the screen, I'm toggling between the two sheets, and that's what she's going to be doing and showing you everything. So I'm going to stop sharing now and let Kimber take over.
And are there any questions before I start? Okay. Let's see here. All right, can everyone see my website? Okay.
I can.
All right.
Good job, Kimber.
What I want to do is show you what I recommend that you do from the very beginning, and that is to create a folder on your own computer, not on Google Drive, where you're going to store some of the contents you're going to create, which you will later upload to the Google Drive so that it can be shared with everyone else. All right. And so what I did here, you can see this folder here. It's called NIPSOT Plant ID Bingo. You can call it whatever you want. I just put it on my desktop so it could easily be found. And then inside of it, I have a folder for the bingo cards, because you are going to have to store them on your computer first, later upload them to the Google Drive in that bingo card folder that Meg showed you a minute ago. And another one for plant images, because you're going to be taking photos from the PowerPoints that she provides you, crop them so that you can put them into the bingo generator. All right, so you need to store them in here. And then this is the PowerPoint that she provided in the Google Drive. All right, and I'll show you why it's in here and why it is. I renamed it just so it'd be easy for me to remember what it is. Plant knowledge slides. I'm going to be showing you how to change the template that I give you, which is for Houston, to the Bernie Level 1 bingo game generator. All right, so again, this is on my own computer, and you're going to do this on your own computers. You have your bingo folder, and within it, the bingo cards and plant images subfolder, and throw the PowerPoint in there as well. All right. Now I'm going to tell you, she is going to send you an email, right, Meg, that invites them to a shared folder in the Google Drive. Now, what I suggest you do, as soon as you receive that email, just go, instead of opening up the email, that's just indicating that it's going to be in your Google Drive. Go to your Gmail account. So here is my NIPSOT Gmail account. And then click the 9 dots and go to your drive. All right. So that's when you receive your email that's telling you it's there. And then over on the left-hand column, you'll see shared with me. She showed you my drive and shared with me. Your folder that we create for you is going to be in the shared with me part of your Google Drive. So you do need to have a Gmail account, I think, to be able to have a Google Drive. And you have, I have more storage. You'll have 15 gigabytes, I think, of storage, which will be plenty to do this. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend I'm the person who is creating the Bernie level 1 bingo game. So this is the bottom one here. So if I'm that person, I would receive this. I wouldn't have all these other ones. I would just have this bottom one. Now I'm going to open it. And this is what Meg showed you before. Hers was in my drive because she created the folder. The person doing the Bernie bingo game would be in the shared with me like I'm showing you here. Now, you see there's another folder here for bingo cards. And you are going to create all your cards, store them on your computer, and then you're going to upload them to this file so they can be shared, so we can access them and give them to the people who are teaching the NLCP courses. So I'll show you how to do that at the after we create some cards. This cheat sheet, like she said, is a folder. It's just to remind you to not forget to put the cheat sheet in there, right? So you're only going to put one thing in there. And again, you can create that actually before you create the bingo cards is the best time to create the cheat sheet. But after you finish editing your bingo generator. Now here's the PowerPoint she's talking about. It is an actual PowerPoint. It is not a Google's presentation. If you double click the PowerPoint that she provides in this shared folder, and it opens up when you're in Google Drive, when you're in this shared folder, it will open as a Google presentation. And what I'm going to teach you is how to use the PowerPoint as a PowerPoint presentation, not a Google presentation. All right, so just be aware of that. Don't open it up in here because the commands I'm going to tell you are for PowerPoint presentations, not Google presentations or Google Slides, some people call it. Okay. Now, the bingo generator, on the other hand, is a Google Sheet. And the reason we created that is because they are huge files. They contain a bunch of photos, and it's easier to share them back and forth if you're in Google Drive. It's kind of like Dropbox, right? You don't have to use up a lot of your own space on your computer. You are never going to put the bingo card generator on your computer. You're just going to leave it in Google Drive and do all your editing within Google Drive, right? Now, before you are going to be able to do anything with the Google Card Generator, go ahead and download this PowerPoint like I said. So instead of double clicking when it's going to open as a Google presentation, I would just right click and then down, let me move this out of the way so I can see my Zoom tools. So, okay, so you're going to right click on the PowerPoint presentation she's going to share with you, that stripped down PowerPoint presentation, and click download. It's going to scan for viruses, and then you're going to see it on the bottom. Now, it might look different when you're doing with Macs. I don't know, Meg, whether that's true, but you can just open it up. If you open it up as a download, see, it's going to open up as a Microsoft PowerPoint instead of a Google presentation. And then all the commands I'm going to teach you are going to work. Now, right now, it's just in my download folder. So I suggest you go ahead and save as, and I'm going to go up, put it in your folder that you created for the plant bingo, and you can name it whatever is going to help you remember. Okay, the plant knowledge bingo. Okay, now I'm not going to do that because I already created it and it's already in my folder, but that's what you can do, and then you can save, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. And when you do it, you're going to have the PowerPoint in here. right? Okay, so I'm going to open it up. Now you can leave it in your download folder, but the thing is you're probably not going to do this in one session. So I recommend you put it somewhere where you're going to remember where it is, and you've named it where you can easily access it. All right, so we're going to be using this. This is a font of information, and the part we need is the part starting with these plants. All right, so you have the canopy shade trees, and then if you scroll down, you'll see small ornamental trees, and these different categories, plants, shrubs, etc. Now that's how I have set up the bingo generator. Now the reason I'm looking at all these is you see that there are some blank spaces, or blank slides after the tree. So you have a Texas redbud, and then underneath it you have a slide where it's blank. You're going to be putting your photo in there and editing it, right? And then you have shrubs and blank slides after each of the plants. All right, so what are we going to do with all this? Okay, now let me show you the bingo generator. Now this is a Google Sheet, so you're just going to open it up there. Remember, you're not going to download it. You're not going to put it on your computer. It's an enormous file. Just leave it where it is. Okay, so everybody's going to be given the bingo card generator that I created for the Greater Houston area. It's a complete bingo game, but it's for Houston. So the first thing you should do is rename the card, right? And so what you do is you just click on the middle cell there, and you see the title, NLCP Level 1 Greater Houston Area. I'm just going to change this to, it's already level 1, so I don't have to change that. You may have to change it to level 2 or 3 or birds, right? And I'll just type in Bernie, right? Is that the way you name it, Meg? Just Bernie? So you can see up here in the, I'm typing it in the editor. All right, I can make it bigger if it's too small.
Yeah, that's
actually. I just want to make sure is it Bernie, and then I'll make it bigger. Okay, so then I just put enter, and it's changed the title to Bernie. You see? So again, you just click on there in the middle of the cell, and you could, yeah, I suggest you do it in the editor, right? This is just like Excel. Okay, now that is the initial page, the one called card right here. Now the next page, oh, before I move on to the next thing, the way that this game is works is each cell in the card page, if I click on this bald cypress image, up here in the editor, you see the formula, and it says equals plants exclamation point B1. That is referring to a cell in the next sheet. Right now, you have to be careful, because if you edit the sheet that I'm about to show you, you may mess up the formulas in the initial sheet, all right, in this sheet creating the cards. So be careful if you're going around removing, especially if you do anything to the first two columns, all right, as far as moving them around or adding another row. You do not want to do that, all right? You can do whatever you want on the right-hand side, but nothing on these first two columns. Okay, so here is the sheet. This is for Houston. And what I have here, each row is one plant. And they are grouped according to the type of plant. So remember I was showing you the PowerPoints had the canopy shade trees, and then it had the ornamental trees, and then the shrubs. Well, these are categorized the same way. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so you can see it all at once. So you have a number of shade trees, and then these different types of plants you can see in column F. Not all NLCP courses are grouped the same way. You don't have to include this column with the groupings, but I suggest you do. Just it's here, and you can just change it according to what you see on the PowerPoints. So the very first column is just a way to randomize the rows so that you can generate the random bingo cards, and so that the caller can call the game. Kind of like when you have the roller and you wind up what is that when you pick the balls when you're playing bingo?
Yeah,
It's in that big.
Yeah, you're just rotating the cage and then pulling a ball out of the cage. Yes.
The cage. I couldn't think of the word. Right. So you don't need to do that here. You can just randomize the rows and then it will, you can call the bingo game that way. So that's why you have this randomization for 2 reasons, to create the cards and to call the game. Right. Now, the second column are your pictures. And then you're going to grab those pictures from the PowerPoint. The third column here, and notice I don't name the columns. If you want to name the columns, please do it at the bottom, right? Because if you add another row to the top, it will, all the formulas on the card are going to be wrong. They're going to be pointing to the wrong plant. Okay. So the second column are plants, the third column are the common names. Now, sometimes there's more than one common name. All right. And so if there's another common name, you can just put it in parentheses. Sometimes there are several common names, like the gay feather. There are 2. I just made 1 common name per line. And the third column, you have the scientific names, sometimes Latin, sometimes Greek. I made them I used a different font just because they're not standard English. Now, on this one, you can delete this. This is the one that has the pronunciation of the Latin or the scientific names. But Meg and I were doing some exploratory things. And if you look for the pronunciation of scientific names on the internet, you could have 5 different ones that are right next to each other. Who knows the one that you want to do now? If the person creating the game knows the way that people locally pronounce the scientific names, then go ahead and include them. Otherwise, you can delete this. You can delete any column to the right of the first 2 columns, right? I already told you about the groupings, and then here I have plant characteristics, and I pulled them straight off of the PowerPoints as well. I just enumerated them to make it easier for the caller to read them out. And finally, the 5th column, or not the 5th column, the final column just enumerates the rows so that you can put them back in order at the end so they are matching the order on your PowerPoints. That's helpful if people are starting, when they get the brand new generator, they're starting a new class and they want to kind of wrap their heads around it. And also for when you're creating the cheat sheet, right? Okay, so this is what you have. And I'm going to tell you how to create this, right? But what I want to, let's see, let me go ahead and show you how to create, what I'm going to do is show you how to create an entire, whole line. Okay, now Meg, I didn't do this in the past. I want to do it this time, just so people know how to maintain the formatting without it being tricky. Now remember, the goal eventually is to replace everything I have here on this entire plants page with the information coming from the PowerPoint, right, that you're given. And so it's going to be Bernie plants, not Houston plants. But I will tell you that out of these 50 plants on the Houston bingo card generator, the one you're going to receive, there were 5 that are duplicated in the Bernie plants. So you could go through, like you could minimize this guy, and if you have two monitors, you could just put the generator on one monitor, the PowerPoint on the other monitor, or make this horizontal, vertically half the screen, the other vertically half the screen, and just see if there are any plants that are repeated, right? And if there are, then you could mark it. Like I know cedar elm is on both slides or both PowerPoints, and so I could put something like that, so that I remember I don't need to do this row. Okay, and so then you go down and you find the ones that are the same.
And then another way we could do that is I could provide the list in the folder, the list of the plants. We just have what's called a plant walk list, and it's just got the names of the plants under the categories and the name of the common name, the scientific name and the category. So I can provide that.
All right, and that would be a way where you know which ones you don't need to redo. Now,
Right.
if you want to redo all of them, that's fine, because this is how you're going to learn, right? The plants. And so, okay. But if you're in a hurry, then you could note which ones you don't need to redo. Okay. So any questions about what I've shown you so far? Okay, so I'm going to
I
show
have
you
a
how to.
question. This is
Yes.
Mary Jane from Midland about the plants for each area. Did Meg say she's going to give a folder so we know what plants need to be in which region? Is that correct? Because if you're generating something for Bernie, you don't want to put Houston plants in there. So I'm out in West Texas. We don't have many plants out here. Actually, we do have a lot of
No,
scrubby
see,
native things, but
Meg is going to give you the plant knowledge PowerPoint for the NLCP region of your area, and it will have 50 plants that are in your area, 45 that are native, 5 that are invasive in your area.
okay.
But some plants overlap between different areas. So Bernie is pretty far from Houston, and yet there are 5 plants that are on the Bernie's PowerPoint that match the 5 plants that are on the Houston PowerPoint that I used to create this bingo generator. So it's just if you don't want to, like the cedar elm is in Bernie and in Houston, and so I could just not redo this row if I didn't want to. But if you're way far away from Houston, maybe there might be 0 overlap. Okay. So
I understand. Thank you. That clarifies that.
okay, good.
And the other thing is I can also provide just a quick reference in each folder, the plant list. So you can just look at the plant list in the folder and compare it to the bingo generator really fast and then put same, like Kimber's saying.
Yeah, instead of having to scroll through the entire PowerPoint.
Right.
Right, because the PowerPoint does include all those blank slides too, which makes it even longer.
Yeah, kind of cumbersome. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is show you how to edit an entire line, and then you would just repeat this process for all 50 plants. And you will get much faster at this, especially if I've already created all the formatting. So if you follow what I'm going to tell you right now, you could actually do it pretty quickly. Okay, so let me make this bigger so you can see it. All right, so you're not going to edit the first column. Okay, so first of all, we need to worry about this picture. This is the most time-intensive part, but again, it doesn't take very long if you get the hang of it. All right, so we want to do the bald cypress. So what I recommend is let me just make this small. I'm going to go ahead and open up my PowerPoint. I already have it here, so I'm going to show you this. This is the Bernie PowerPoint. So I'm just going to scroll down until I get to the very first plant, the cedar. That's the common name. And I am going to, remember the goal here is to replace this picture of the bald cypress with the picture of a cedar. So what I do, sorry, these things are in the way. I'm just going to pick which picture I want. Now, you want to pick a picture that's distinctive, that makes the person realize, oh, it's a cedar, right? I recommend that you pick close-ups versus the ones that are really far away, because these are going to be little pictures on a bingo card, right? You can pick what you want, but remember, you're going to have to just pick a part of this plant and you're going to have to fit it into that square cell. Okay. So I'm going to just click on the image and right click and pick copy. Everybody knows how to do that, right? And then I'm going to go to the slide right beneath it and right click and put paste, and just pick destination theme is fine. Okay, I need to get rid of this. That should be gone. I was playing around with this yesterday and forgot to delete it. Okay, so you have, I pasted this here. Then what you do is you're going to right click and, okay, right click. Why is it not letting me group? Okay, let's see. Hold on a second. Sorry, something went wrong. Let's see here. Right click, copy, paste. right click. Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't letting me group there, Meg, but this time it went, yeah, that's right. So I have just copied and pasted, and then over here it says group, and then you're going to ungroup it, okay? And then you click outside the box and then click again, and you're going to click on this. This is the credit. I don't want the credit there, so I'm going to put it there. All right, now I'm going to crop this image because it needs to be a square so it can go into the bingo card. So I go up here and pick the picture format, and you see the crop command there, and you scroll down until you get to the aspect ratio, and you want it to be 1:1, so it'll be a square. And then it creates a square, and you can move the picture around if you don't like where it has put the square. But it's very important that you make sure the picture is completely inside of the square and there are no white areas, right? Because the white areas will show up on your bingo card and it won't look good. All right, next you're going to grab the credit box again, the text box, and you're going to put it back onto the picture. Now this is another place you need to be careful. Notice that when I moved it over here, the text box is outside of the picture. Now you want to grab this and make it where the text box is completely inside of it. Otherwise, when you regroup it to save the image to import into the bingo generator, you're going to have a bunch of white space around the image. Okay, so now that I've made sure that the text box is inside the image, I'm going to right click and pick regroup. That's so that the image will be saved as the credit and the picture as one file. Okay, finally, I'm going to right click and save as a picture. And this is why you want to have already created that folder for the plant images on your computer. Okay, so now I'm going to go up and go into my plant ID bingo. And so I already have 2 of these here. I'm going to name it cedar. Like I said, I was doing this earlier to make sure. All right. And then now I have the picture. Now you could go through and do all the plants at the same time, but I'm going to show you one at a time, right? That's the best way to learn them if you do every single thing for one plant, if you're actually trying to learn these. Okay, so then I'm just going to go ahead and minimize that and go back into my bingo generator. All right, so my first plant needs to be cedar, not bald cypress. So I'm going to click on the cell containing the bald cypress. Now this is a square cell. Please don't resize. If you need to resize things, like if your description won't fit, make the description longer, the cell more wider instead of making it taller, because you don't want to change the height of your box containing the image, right? So I'm just going to click on this, and I'll move this out of the way so I can see. You click on this, and then the cell that I want to replace with the picture of the cedar, I'm going to pick Insert and Image, and then Image in Cells, right? You cannot just cut and paste and put the image directly in there. You have to use the commands that I showed you. Then you are going to go and take that image, right? You just pick the one you want, open, and it's going to put it into the cell, replacing the bald cypress. All right, now what I suggest you do is you make, if you have 2 monitors, which I do, but I can't use both of them during this meeting, so I'm going to just do this all in one monitor. I'm going to make my bingo generator half the screen horizontally, and I'm going to open up my PowerPoint so that it's half the screen. Now you could also just toggle back and forth between the slides, but so that you can see everything at once, I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to make this where it's going to close that. and make this half the desktop. And I know there are ways to divide up your desktop using, what is it called? Tab resize. You can do those things as well if you want. All right. Normally I just use 2 different monitors. Okay. So I have this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this slide for the cedar to fill in all the information about the plant. All right, so let me just make this. And all right. I don't know why the slide's so tiny. There doesn't seem to be a way to make it bigger. Okay. Now, the formatting's already on here. So the easiest thing to do is just to select, actually, you can just select the name of the plant over here on the slide, not the entire text box, just the plant, right? So you're just going to like Control C for Control Copy. And then you're going to select the bald cypress here, and then you just put Control V to replace it, and then put Enter. And what did it do? There it is, up there, cedar. So it replaced it with cedar. It's centered. Everything's fine. All right. And then when you want to replace the name, the Juniperus ashii, you just go down here. It's directly under the common name. You copy it, Control C, and then you come over here with where this Latin name is. You just go directly in the cell. You select it, and then just put Control V, and it will be replaced with the Juniperus ashii. Now, it did add a return. I don't know how to get rid of that. So just backspace, right? And then Enter, and it will be in the middle, right? You don't need to mess with the formatting or worrying about wrapping or anything like that if you do this. Okay, now this one I would, if you know the Latin name, you can add that, or you could just delete this entire column. And then finally, the canopy shade tree. All of these are canopy shade trees, right now. And then how are you going to change the description? Well, the descriptions are right there in front of you. You just are going to cut and paste them as well, right? So you're going to select the first one, good screen plant, and you replace this one, whoops, back over here. You replace it with, again, do everything inside the cell. Control V. It always adds the review, so just, the return, so just backspace. And you do that with the remaining descriptions. So plant female for fruit and to avoid pollen allergies. So I'm just going to go in this little box. Whoops. Copy, and then again, replace the second one. Control V, and then, whoops, I didn't select it all, so I'll just finish it. And then the next one, typically several trunks. If it adds a return, just delete it. And then food and nesting material for birds. Copy. And you're done. All right. And then if you delete all the returns, you just put Enter, and it's going to automatically center it for you. The centering is important so that when the person's calling the game, it's easy to read, right? So that's all you do. I did one plant, and there are 50 plants. You're not going to be explaining it to people as you go along, so you'll do it faster, especially as you get a hang of it. And if you've got 2 monitors, you can just have the bingo card generator on one and the PowerPoint on the other, or you could just toggle back and forth, which probably be easier because it's bigger then, right? So you would just copy, right? Control X, and then just move over to the bingo card generator and replace, okay? All right. That's what I did. I don't like looking at the little bitty thing, but I just wanted you to see simultaneously what they look like, and you can do it that way, or you can put them on 2 different monitors. Okay, so that was one plant, and then you just keep going, right? Now you could, it would be more efficient probably just to do all the pictures first, just create all the things here, worry about saving them as images into your plant folder later. Whatever way you want to do it, you can do it that way. I'm just showing you one plant at a time because this is what you would do if you want to learn the plants really well. You could also you could type all the stuff yourself if you think that will help you learn. I do recommend.
Take out the pronunciation, please. On the bingo generator you have there you go. Remove that.
Oh yeah, because that was taxodium, right?
Yeah.
So because I don't know it, I would just get rid of that, right? And in fact, I can just delete this whole column. Actually,
it's
how to do that on delete column. There we go. I'm used to using PowerPoint. Excel. Okay, so there we go. Any questions about that? You just keep repeating it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, how are you going to use this to actually do anything? How are you going to use this to create your cards? Now, before you, once you're finished with everything, and of course this one only has 2 rows done because the cedar elm happened to be the same one. Hold on, where is all this stuff? Okay, there we go. Once you've done all 50 plants, then I recommend that you go ahead and create your cheat sheet first. All right. So what you're going to do, you don't need the randomization column and you don't need the column for enumeration. So you can put things back into order. So now the way that you print with Google Sheets is different from the way you print with Excel, right? So for Google Sheets, what you do is you're going to select every single thing that you want to include on your cheat sheet, which would be everything except the first and last column. And you just go down until you get to 50. All the games will have 50 plants. And then Control P to print. Now, because this is a sheet with lots and lots of pages and things and columns, look at this, it's showing me stuff I don't want, right? I don't want the first and last column. Remember, I didn't select them. So then what you do is over here where it says print on the right, you just go down. I'm sorry, I have to keep moving these Zoom things. You go down to selected cells and it will get rid of the ones you didn't want, right? And it will also only give you 4 pages instead of 80 pages, right? You'll get a lot of pages if you don't do that selected cell part. All right, and then you could do it landscape. If you do it landscape, then it's going to take up more pages. So just leave it portrait. They'll all fit in there. And then you click next. You have to wait for it to compile. This is different from Excel as well. Again, the reason we did this in Google Sheets so we can share these huge files easily in Google Drive. Okay, so then it's going to ask you how you want to print it. Do you want to print it with your printer? Do you want to Microsoft Print to PDF? Just save it as a PDF, right? And then print, and it's going to ask you where to save it. And again, I've already created a folder. Well, I didn't create a folder for it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. I'm going to call it my cheat sheet. All right. Now I'm going to show you how to make a game. The bingo card. All right, it's the same process. You're going to select all of this is very important. You have to select all the columns in each row, including the enumeration, especially the enumeration and the randomization thing. Now you're going to right click and you're going to put randomize range. And it's going to change the order of these plants. Now that's the same exact thing that the person who's calling the game would do. They're going to select all the rows and columns, and put randomize range, and it will change the order of the plants so that you can call the plant. You say Mexican plum, and then whoever sees Mexican plum will check off Mexican plum, right? Now let me show you, not only did it change the order, it's changing which images are on the card, right? So you see the images that are on this card. If I randomize the range again, they're going to be a different set. There are spaces for 24 plants on this, 5 rows, 5 columns with a blank space. And so each time you randomize the range, you're going to have a different set of 24 cards in a different order because you have 50 to pick from. Now, a regular bingo game has 75 things that can go into the cells, into the 24 cells. So you will have a winner faster, which is a good thing though, because you don't have all day to play this. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to, so I've randomized it. I've created a unique bingo card. Now I'm going to show you how to save it as an image so that you can either print it or play virtually. All right. And Meg, I did when you save it as a PNG, it prints very beautifully. It's big and easy to use. So we don't need to save as PDFs. We can just save everything as an image file.
Perfect.
All right. So what you do now, you might say, well, why can't I just use this as my bingo card? You would be able to see all the cell lines, right? These horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, Jenny, I'm going to show you again because I'm going to do another card right after this. All right. So once you randomize it, again, I'll do it one more time in a sec. Once you randomize it, you're going to go to card. And the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one with a border. And then I'll do it again where you see a card without a border, this purple border that I added. Some people like the border, some people don't like the border. You can pick, but whatever you do, pick the same, all border, all or none of them with a border. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to print this card just like I did with the cheat sheet. All right. So I'm going to select the part that I want to print. Okay, so I'm going to include the border and then Control P. Okay. Now you see that it's not centered. For the next part, you don't really need to have it centered, but if you do happen to want to print it with your printer, right, so you can work it, you can do like maybe you just want to print it to see what it would look like at home, whatever it is. You need to go ahead and pick selected cells again and puts it in the middle. Then if you want to save it as a PDF to share, because everybody wants to print it and they like the way it looks better when it's a PDF, you could do this, but you can also do what I just showed you if you want to use it to create an image, right? A PNG file to share virtually. All right, so you do that. Now the next step is if y'all decide you want to do it as PDF, you can just do exactly what I did with the cheat sheet. You just pick next and you save it to Microsoft PDF or you print it on your printer, whatever you want to do. Okay, but right now I'm just going to create I'm going to take a picture of this. All right, now I use Snagit, but you have to pay for that. So I'm going to show you how to do it with Snip, which is free on PCs. Meg, I don't know, there has to be one on Apple that you can use as well. Now, the shortcut for Snip is the Windows Shift S, and it launches this snip. And then this rectangular snip is what I want to take. This is exactly what I was showing you on a different presentation, Meg, with the Snagit. So I'm going to select this bingo card. All right, and then, okay, why didn't it do it? Hold on a second, did it show? Nope, I don't know why that didn't. Let me do it again. Control it. This worked when I did this 5 times yesterday to make sure everything worked. Okay, let me do it again. Okay, so you do that, you pick it. There's supposed to be a dialog box that shows up on the right-hand side. Yeah, for some reason it's not working with Zoom. It works without Zoom. Okay, so let me just, I'm going to do it with Snagit will work with Zoom. So you're not going to be normally doing this when you're in a Zoom meeting. Okay, so I'll just launch this Snagit. There must not be enough bandwidth or something. And it's going to give me a thing that's going to look just the same. I'm going to, but you do this with Snip or whatever photo image capture program you want to use. Okay. Now with Snagit, it's going to give me a dialog box and it's going to let me save it. All right, I don't know why these are not, so that one didn't work either. Huh. It's there, oh, there finally. It's just taking a long time because of the bandwidth. Probably if I'd waited long enough, the snippet would have occurred too. So with, if you're using Snagit, you just are going to save it as a file. If you use the snip, it's going to give you a little, you click this little dialog box and it's going to open as an image and you can save it there. Okay. So I'm going to put this into my bingo card folder that I've already created. All right, and here's some cards already there. Okay, so I already have cards 1 and 2. I'm going to call this card 3. Okay, save. All right, now I don't, if you wanted to save it as a PDF, then you could just, it's already centered and everything, and you can just follow the same exact process that we did before, where you save it as PDF, and you can, I'll go ahead and put that one in there too. You might want to create the pings and the PDF and save them all in your bingo card thing, and so then you can print that. This is card 3. And so then I'm going to put it into the bingo cards. Now you don't have to do this. You could just do them all as these image files. Okay. Now this is a PDF. The other was pings, PNG images. So I'm going to go ahead and just put card 3. Save. And that's a PDF. All right. Now if I go over here to my NIPSOT Plant ID Bingo folder, I have this PNG, and here's the identical version as a PDF. All right. Now, if you print the PNG, the ping, so you can just print it. It turns up as I've got. So here is one that I printed the PDF. Okay. And it actually, the images are quite clear. Right now, this is the ping that I created of the same card, and it takes up the entire page. Now, the images aren't as clear, but I don't remember whether I picked the highest quality. So you don't have to create a PDF to get a nice bingo card. Right. Oh, and by the way, if you use a snip instead of Snagit on the default image capture on your PC, when it opens up, it looks just like this, right? And you can edit it if you want, and you can save it, right? Actually, it has a little option to save. You can save it directly. Okay. When we do the next bingo card, we'll see if the snippet will work. Okay, so now I'm going to create one more without a border so that you can see the randomization process again. Now click when you're ready to make the next card. Now you're going to do this, making the card 30 times. Now, if you want a ping and a PDF version of all the cards, then create them simultaneously so you don't have to do so many randomizations. You could have the ping version and the ping version and the PDF version of the same card. Okay, now, so I'm back over here. Notice I don't need to reselect things because they're already selected. Okay, and then this is the process, Jenny, that you were talking about. You're just going to right click and you're going to randomize the range. Directly into sort range, you just randomize the range, and now it's changed the order again, and I have a brand new card. The completely different selection of plants in different order. Okay, so out of the 50, it's going to randomly choose 24, and they'll be in a different order. Okay, so this time I'm going to create a bingo card without a border. So I'm just going to, so do you was that, Jenny, did you see how I randomized it?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so now I'm going to make a card without a border. So I just select inside the purple boxes. And then Control P. And then, now you see that you can see the border, right? But that, again, it's just like when I created the cheat sheet. I put Control P and it showed me everything instead of the part I selected. So this is where it's more important that you do the select cells, even if you are just going to snag it. It's very hard to capture just the white part if you don't want the border, right? So that's what you do. You do the selected cells. Okay, so let me see if the snippet will work this time. Okay, so again, it's the Windows Shift S simultaneously. Pick the rectangular one, and you're just going to go around that. Oops, make sure you have the entire thing. Yeah, so I don't know why they're not showing up during Zoom, but you get this dialog box and you click it, and then it just opens up as an image and you can save it. Okay, when I do, well, anyway.
Are you saying S as in Sam for your command?
Yeah, it's for snippet.
Okay.
So it's the Windows Shift and S. I think I've already handwritten all the directions. I'm just going to type it up and use Snagit to input images. And so you'll also have a written thing and it'll just be very concise. And then you can also look at the videos. All right. So Mac provides a screenshot. Yes, S is in Sam. It stands for the snippet. Okay. So let me just use my little annotation. Okay, where is the text? So it's the Windows. What is that icon called? Just a Windows icon? I don't know. You know the little thing with the Windows key? And then Shift and capital S. Okay. All right. Use that and you can use snip. And trust me, when Zoom is not running, it works. Okay, but Snagit works. Whatever it is that you do to create your image capture.
Yeah, and we have a comment from Barbara, so I'll just chime in here. With regard to Macintosh, it's Command Shift and the number 4. Command Shift and the number 4.
Command Shift and number 4. Hold on.
Hey,
that's to do the snap. Okay, it's Command Shift number 4.
Yeah, and I don't know what it's called. Barbara, do you know what it's called? You can write it in chat. It's just called a screenshot app.
Yeah.
So you could also write another text box in there for people to see for command.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see.
Command, Shift, and 4.
All at the same time. Command.
Yeah. Took me a while to figure it all out, but I use it all the time now. All the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and yeah, this all goes very quickly when you're doing it, when you're not explaining to people and when you're not in Zoom, and the things work way faster and actually function, because this one's not even working in Zoom. Okay. All right. So that's how you capture it. I suggest you do the ping. The pings are better because you can print them and you can share them virtually. All right. Okay. So now, so I'm going to go ahead and erase this because, well, I don't need to erase it. I'm going to use I never created the game. Let me go ahead and since the snippet didn't work, I'm just going to go ahead and, create another card. This is my card 4. It's card 2 for y'all, but I I already have 2 of them in there. Okay, and then I just share it. I mean, save it as card 4. Notice a ping, PNG, save. This one was without the border. So I should do one with the border and without the border. And then if I wanted to print, to save it as a PDF, don't worry, it's not going to print the Windows icon and all that. That's part of Zoom. I will go ahead and get rid of that though, so you don't have to look at it. So now you're going to print that. It's 4. And so now I'm going to have card 4. So I don't want to have to randomize it twice for the 2 cards. So just people are going to pick one or the other. This gives some people flexibility. So if the NLCP thing wants to print them all and they found that the printout looks better in PDF, they could use that, but you don't have to do it. If you're only going to do one, I would do the PNG, the ping. All right. Now, if you cannot get your image creator to work, then you could do it with PDF, right? Just do them all with PDF. Your image capture to work. All right, so now what have I got? So I'm going to look over here at my my folder, and I have a bunch of bingo cards, right? These I created before. I have card 3 either as a ping or a PDF. I had card 4 either as a ping or PDF. Now, all of yours will either have the purple border or will not have the purple border. I just wanted to show you the various things. And then I also have the plant images. Now the plant images are just for you. You're not going to share those, right? Okay. And then the cheat sheet, you're going to share that. You're not going to share the plant knowledge. It was shared with you. Okay. So the things that I'm going to need to upload are the bingo cards and the cheat sheet. So when I'm finished with all the 30 bingo cards or 50 bingo cards, how many of you are going to make? Then you're going to go back into your Google Drive, right? And you're going to click cheat sheet. I just double clicked it, and you can right click it and put upload files. So I'm looking for the cheat sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and open it. It's going to take a second. And now it's there. And then this can be shared because it's in the Google Drive, right? And then I can just go back up here. And now I need to put my bingo card. So I double click that to open it. And then I right click, upload files. I go into my bingo card folder, and I can just put all of these guys. So you can just select all of them, all 30 or 60 or how many you have, open. And it will just put all those in there. And then it can be shared with whatever group wants to use them. All right. So it's still downloading. Unfortunately, you cannot just save things directly to Google Drive. That's why I said to create the folders in your own computer. You have to create them, put them in your computer, and then you can upload them all at once into Google Drive. Because the Google Drive is a web-based app. Now, if you happen to have this sync app, you can do it more efficiently, but I'm not going to ask everybody to download that. Right? So this is the way to do it without having to download anything. The only thing you need is PowerPoint so that you can open the PowerPoints as PowerPoint presentations, and you need a Gmail address so that you have access to the Google Drive. All right? So that's it. Whoops, what am I doing? Okay, any questions? Okay, so I will, like I said, I have them all written up. I just have to type them. And I will just have some screenshots, and we're going to cut up the video into small pieces where they correspond to what's on the written document, right? Oh, there was one thing I wanted to tell you. When you are like if you have hold on a second, I want that. When you are in the Google Sheet cells, if you want to create more than one line, say you had, the original had 4, but you need 5 for your particular plant, then you have to, say I want to add another one. If you just put enter after rhizomes, it's going to go to the next cell. So the one little thing that you need to worry about here is you do Alt enter, and it will let you go to the next line within the same cell. I mean, this is a little intricate thing, but this is the kind of thing that can mess you up when you're in the middle of trying to edit these files. All right.
I'm so glad you said that, Kimber.
Yeah, so it's Alt enter, and that's the same command I think in Excel as well. So
Huh.
if you ever don't know how to do something, you just Google it, right? Just say, how do I enter more than one line in a cell in Google Sheets? And then it'll pop up, right? That's how I found out how to do it. But it's nice to be aware of that. You may have to do that if you have multiple common names as well. That's another time when you would, like Mexican plum. Actually, Mexican plum is one that was repeated in Bernie. But Carolina jessamine, maybe it's replaced with a different plant. It is replaced with a different plant, and maybe has multiple names. And so then you could use the Alt.
Alt return, is it?
Return. Alt enter, right?
Alt, yeah, enter.
Yeah. Okay. Now the other thing is, there was one more thing. Let me think. But it's escaped me now. I can't remember.
We do have a question from Barbara Pete. She wants to know, will PowerPoint via MS Office's online version work?
Yes. I have that too. Now, there's probably somebody who knows how to, let me show you what happens if you just open this. So you're in the shared folder and you open up the PowerPoint that Meg shares with you. The commands are completely different. And if you know how, if you are familiar with Google Slides, Google Presentation, you could do everything I showed you here, right? You could make your images, right? And it's just that the commands are not the same. And just like the commands in Google Sheets are not the same as Excel. Now, the reason we created the Google Sheets instead of Excel, again, is so we could share these huge files. The PowerPoint was originally a PowerPoint. And so just download it and open it as a PowerPoint. And then you can just use the commands you already know with PowerPoint. I don't know the commands for the Google Sheets, and I don't want to have to, don't want to teach you how to do it, because originally it was a PowerPoint to begin with. The Google Sheets was always a Google Sheets. Now, if you open the Google Sheets, remember it opens just as a Google Sheet, right? If you do the same thing I said to do with the PowerPoint, you download it, right? Okay, I'm doing, so if you go over here, forget that, that's wrong. If you right click it and download it, like I did with the PowerPoint, guess what happens when I open it?
It messes it all up, right?
No, it won't mess it up. But so so you share a PowerPoint, if you click it and open it in Google Drive, it opens as a Google presentation, not a PowerPoint presentation. If you double click and open the bingo card generator in Google Drive, it opens as a Google Sheets, which it's supposed to, because that's what it is, a Google Sheets. If you download the PowerPoint, right, and then open it in your computer like I just did with this bingo generator, it's going to open as a PowerPoint presentation, and you can use all the commands I just showed you. But if you do the same thing with the Google card, the bingo card generator, you download it, then when I open it, it's going to open as an Excel file. That's what's native to the PC, at least. I don't know what it would do for Meg, what is the Excel version in?
It'd be Excel.
Macs?
It would be Excel.
Okay, and then all the commands are going to be different.
Oh, somebody said
right?
numbers. Barbara says numbers on Mac. Okay, yeah.
Numbers, okay. And you see, so all the formatting went away. All the cards, that's not right. The cards messed up. Right? So it will not work. And then you'll have to sit here and fiddle around and try to figure out how to make it work. And so just leave it as a Google Sheet, right? Because that's how you're going to share it anyway.
Yeah.
So that I just wanted to point out that, because people, these are things that might cause people problems when they're on their own trying to do these things. Like, wait a minute. Okay, so download the PowerPoint, open as a PowerPoint. Don't download the bingo generator. You're going to do everything within Google Drive. Okay. But you are going to have to save things to your computer. The images, the plan images, you can't just save them into your Google Drive. You have to save them on your computer, and you're going to save the bingo cards and into the cheat sheet and all that, and then you upload them later into the Google Drive.
Yep.
Oh, PowerPoint, yeah, sorry, I appreciate. Okay. Any questions?
If you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Trying to.
Have we scared everybody to death?
So I showed you how to do every single thing on here. And so it's all on this video. And are you going to provide the recording to people, Meg?
Yes.
But I will also.
By the way, you probably want to sort that page back.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to show you that. So how do you resort them back into the original order?
It's like sorting an Excel spreadsheet. That's pretty straightforward. That's very similar to Excel.
Yeah, it's very similar. So you just select it all, just as if you were going to create a new card, right? You right click and then you put sort range.
And you want to
and you're going to pick, I was reading the chat. So you're going to randomize according to column H.
Yeah.
It's not coming up.
Well, that's
that has never happened.
It says G there now.
Oh, because I got rid of the
Latin okay.
pronunciation. Okay, so now it's G. Okay, and then it puts it back in order. All right.
Perfect.
So you're going to be replacing all of these things. If you just remember, you're going to select it on the slide and then select it on the inside the cell, and it will retain all the formatting. The cedar on the slide was huge, but I just cut and pasted in here and it enter, and it turns out it keeps the formatting. All right. Thinking once. Oh, and another thing, the reason we have all this, remember the person calling the card, they're going to randomize the range just like we did when we were creating the bingo game. They can say the common name or the Latin name or the description. They can pick what they want to do. Right? So there's lots of variation that people can use. Now, we can use the games at chapter meetings. You could use the games at Master Naturalist meetings, right, if you want. You are creating this game right now for the NLCP, but you'll always have the bingo generator and you'll have the knowledge how to change it, and you can make it about amphibians or whatever it is that you want to do. You can add columns and all that. The only thing is that I recommend leaving the first two columns alone unless you want to fiddle with the references in the cells, right? You could change the shape of the card by making the separations wider. There are lots of different things you could do, but don't do that when you're doing it for us, right? Just leave everything the way it is. Just don't forget to change the name of the card.
Yeah.
Right? And the names and all the plant entries. Okay. But you're not having to come up with any of this. You're just using the PowerPoints.
So do you want to stop sharing? Are we ready to stop sharing?
Okay. All right.
And anybody want to unmute? Susan says she's wondering, but she's going to try it and see. I think I can understand if you decide you don't want to do this project, but if you want to do this project, then if you could please, either you can tell me now, or it'd probably be best just to email me and let me know that you would like to do it, and then I can work with you on and I need to know what region you're interested in doing. So if you could email me and say, I want to do it, this is the region that I'm interested in, or this is the town that I'm in, and or the other thing that would be useful for me to know is if you've taken any of these classes. If you've taken a class and you want to do that class that you've already taken, then let me know. I think we can accommodate everybody. If we can't, I'll let you know, and hopefully people can be flexible. Is that all I need to tell them about what to get to me, Kimber?
Well, and like I said, it was a lot of stuff, but I'm going to create just a print out of just like a bullet point thing with the images, right? Using Snagit. I was just thinking of ways I could do this efficiently, Meg, and I think I can because I've written it so many times. I'll just type it, and then I'm going to take the video and splice it into small sections that match the written thing, and then you can rewatch any part of the video you want, and you'll know you want to scroll through the entire thing. You'll know which video to click
Right,
on.
right.
Okay, and it'll be in the NLCP channel, which everybody will have access to. All right.
The YouTube channel, right? Mhm, the NLCP YouTube channel,
Yeah,
and
right.
I can send that out to people. I have everybody's email address, so I can send the link out to everybody once we've uploaded them there.
Right. But in the interim, if you provide the recording of this, if they want to just get started right now, if you've been taking notes, or just look at the recording, I've taught you, I can't think of any other thing that you would need to know, right? And so I'll give you the maybe I could put the directions, the document in the folder, the shared folder we give everybody, right?
Yeah.
So they can access that. And then we could, in the email, you could give them a link to the NLCP channel with the
Okay.
playlist when that's available, right? Oh, and if you have any questions, if you're doing this and you forgot what to do and you can't find it in the video, then you can just email me. All right. Do they have my email address? I'm going to put it in the chat and then you can grab it.
Yeah.
Everybody know how to open up the chat? You just, it's at the bottom of your Zoom meeting. And so Kimber.Kaushik.
And so what I'm going to do is, if anybody wants to speak up now and let me know what area they would like to cover, with the Rio Grande Valley, we have a couple of people from the Rio Grande Valley. And
so that would be the South, the Corpus Christi one.
yeah, maybe the Corpus Christi one. Yeah. Yeah, that might be good.
That's the closest one.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also the one in Big Bend area, right?
We have a big
but that's far away. I mean, we think of it being far away, but the Rio Grande Valley is actually closer to Corpus Christi than it is to the Big Bend. But people could pick. And if you're interested in learning about the plants from a different region, you could do that card, right? I mean, that game.
Okay, so Alyssa says, I'm game, but Houston seems covered. Yes, you can take another region. Just let me know if you're interested in a different region when you email me. And then Ellen wants DFW, Arlington, West Texas.
That would be
so for West Texas, we don't have a Mary Jane. That would be almost everything from scratch. So I don't have a West Texas list yet, but I am now currently working with West Texas because they are wanting to, because they haven't done NLCP yet, but they're getting to be pretty enthusiastic about it. And I just got an email request from the chapter president to say, I think we can do this on Zoom, so let's just do it. And I'm going to train West Texas, and they already have a list. So, I mean, the option there would be to wait until West Texas creates its list, and then I could get with you and you could do it later, or you could do another class that's not necessarily in West Texas. Or if you wanted, if you really are more interested in just learning the plants and doing it, you could go rogue and forget the TMN hours and just do your own thing. We can help you with that too. So whatever you want to do.
And somebody wants your email address. Could you type that into the chat? Sure. Jenny wants your email. And so if you are developing this for your own chapter, then you could use your chapter photos, right? You don't have to use the NLCP photos that are in the PowerPoints, which are usually from the wildflower.org. But for the purpose of the NLCP, we want you to go ahead and use what's available on those PowerPoints just for consistency. And for reinforcement of what the people learned in class, right? That's the whole purpose of this initial idea of the bingo game. But so far, people have been actually using it mostly for chapter meetings, although the Clear Lake offered it during the
Their
most recent
training,
birds class.
level 1 training, right?
The level 1 training. And I guess they used the generator I created, but they had to make a bunch of cards because I hadn't created
Right.
the cards yet.
Right.
And so, and the thing is that if you've created a virtual card, the ping cards that I showed you how to create, then you can email it to people, and then they just open it up and they can use the Zoom annotation tools to mark up their cards. So then you don't have to go and teach everybody how to mark up a virtual card for every different type of PC, different kind of computer they might have. Right. So does anyone want me to show you that, like how you would actually play virtually?
I think we're out of time at this point.
Oh yeah, it's already 11:32.
So maybe what we ought to do is you and I can do a recording on that and then just have it labeled, how to mark the cards or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the people who need to know that actually are the people who are giving the NLCP class. The people who are creating the game, you just need to provide the cards, right? And the cheat sheet and the bingo card generator so that the people can call the game and create more cards that they need, etc.
Right. So if everybody could email me, I put my email, meg.inglis@nipsot.org, and you can copy Kimber as well. And again, let me know the region you're interested in working and whether you've taken an LCP or not. And if you are flexible in the region, that would be great.
And Yvette, you're welcome to do this. We're going to provide the recording of this, at least the training part of the meeting. And then you could just use that to watch the part you missed. And again, I am going to provide a written explanation. And then, when we'll have the short videos as well. Now that's going to take a while because my husband's going to help with that. But the written part I can do by this weekend. Okay.
Can call orders be saved so callers don't have to have the sheets document?
Oh, you will know. I mean, remember when you randomize can I share it? We're done. I'm just going to answer any particular questions real quick. Let me just share this.
And Mary Jane, yes, we'd like to have the cards completed by July, but
the end of July, right?
Yeah, end of July. Sorry.
Okay, so when you're to call the game, the person calling it is just going to select everything, every single row and column, just like you're creating a card, right? You randomize, arrange, and then you'll know the order because you see you're going to, I'm going to call Japanese honeysuckle. And then I just move down here. I can just highlight them. The trifoliate orange, look at that, they're both invasives.
Both invasive.
And then passion flower vine, river birch. You see, I have a record of what I've done, right? And we know the cards. I have the caller is going to have a record of all the 30 cards too. So when someone says bingo, then they can either share their screen and we can look at it and see if they actually, because maybe they didn't identify the plants correctly, right? But you know which ones you've called because they're right there in front of you. All right.
I guess, and then if you want to call another game, you randomize it again.
You randomize it again.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And if you want to use the bingo, like you want to be all fancy and you want to make it look like a regular bingo game, then you can, like when you call out 50, right? Then what I would suggest is you put these back in order again so you can easily find 50. You don't have to scan through all of these to find where 50 went. So remember how to to sort it again. Select all. If you don't select all of them, then everything's messed up, right? Because then you've got to keep all the plant information on a single row. So sort, and don't forget to change to column G, the last one. Now you might say, well, why didn't you put column G at the beginning? That's because I don't want to move where my plant images are. And I'm too lazy to go and change all the references in those 24 cells on the bingo card. Okay, so I'm just leaving it like that. All right, so then if you use the cage with the roller and number 3 comes up, then the person calling the game, we just look at 3 and say Drummond Red Maple, right? Or this plant has fall foliage, it's red, orange to red, decorative red male flower. I mean, you could do whatever you want to do, make it like Jeopardy, whatever. All right. And then, so yeah, you can do it, you can accommodate however you want to do it. If you love massacring Latin, then you can just call out the Latin names and people could argue in the middle of the game, like, no, you're supposed to pronounce it this way. All right.
Kimberly,
Go ahead.
one question. You said we should not enlarge the height of the row. Does that mean we should not go beyond 5 descriptive sentences?
Okay, so if you want to, some of them do have 6, right? And I thought I had one with 6. What you could do is just make the font smaller so you can fit all of them in there. And to make this font smaller, you just select all of them and change it to, like, if you do 8, I could fit 6 of them by changing the font to 8. Whoops. All right, that's what I did. Now you could also change the height of each, but you'd have to do it for each row and you have to do them independently.
No,
So
not the height,
I
but
wouldn't
the
do that.
length.
No,
The
no, no. If he wants 6, then he's going to need more space to put them vertically.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Now you could also, at first I did like 1 and I put 2 right next to it, but it was just too, I wanted to make it easy for the caller to read, right? So there are occasionally 6. And so now as far as, if you need to make it wider, that's easy. You just come up here and make it wider, right? I've made it where the wrapping occurs automatically. So, I spent a lot of time making the formatting. That's why if you want to retain the formatting, remember you just are going to copy whatever you want. And before you paste it, select whatever you want to replace.
Okay.
Now, if you want another row, so like say that for this one, I want 6 rows. So do you remember the thing? It's Alt, Enter, you put 6, and then you're going to put whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then when I put Enter, you won't see it, right? Unless you scroll down and you can, where did it go? It was under Parsley, Hawthorn. It's up here. Okay. So what you could do is just do this and then make it smaller. However small you need to make it so it'll all fit in there. Whoops, I had to select the whole thing. Okay. Should work with 8. Nope, so you have to make it a little bit smaller. See, that's the kind of thing you're gonna have to play around with. But there's very few that have more than 5. Most have 4. So you just open it. And so to go a little bit smaller, 8. Sometimes you have to be patient with it. Yeah, we're just going over little things. So just keep doing it until you can see it all. Now, if, like I said, you don't want to mess around with the height of this because you're going to have to change the individually. You're going to change a row height for every single one for 50 of them, just so you could add that additional description.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't
so
do that. Don't mess with the height. Try to fit it in. Don't put all of them in is what I would say.
Well, okay, 7. 7 is the one.
Yeah.
7 is the font you want to do if you want to create 6. I've never seen one with more than 6. Okay. So 9 is the default, 7 is what you want to use. And I can add that to my description. Okay. So 6 rows.
Any other questions while she's recording her notes? I think what'll happen is once you get started, you'll have some questions, but hopefully we will have covered them all, but probably not. So Kimber would be the one to contact directly with your specific questions, mainly.
And if y'all have them, let me know because I can add it to the document that I'm going to share. And because I'm sharing with everybody, any updates I make to the document, you'll all be able to see. Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. That was awesome. Thanks, Kimber. Thanks to everybody for coming.
Okay.
I think that was very useful. I appreciate it, Kimber.
All right. I have to actually go. My doorbell's ringing and I need to answer it.
Yeah. All
Um,
right. I look
okay.
forward to receiving everybody's emails, and I'm going to end the Zoom meeting for everybody. Take
Okay.
care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.